Well, now that that's happened, I have to tell everybody, Nancy. Look at her red face she is. Anyhow, after round up at this time, a little church in Venice, and the place just says Venice, in Cuba, they're praying for us. The church that we've affiliated with. Pastor had told me on several occasions, tell your church, we're going to pray for you. And that's really quite a wonderment, quite an accomplishment for us. And it's amazing that this gospel today happens on a day when we want to talk about that type of experience. Because notice what Jesus said, that he went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Pastor Jorge used the phrase in his preaching to the people in his church. The Spanish is very limited, but this I picked up, that the gospel of Jesus was a gospel of revolution. La revolución. Right? And of course, my ears perked up at that, because that's what it is. Now, Bridget and Nancy were there with me. Pastor Jorge really gets into his preaching. He's very dynamic and emotional. It's really something to hear him preach, even if you don't understand Spanish. You certainly get a sense of what he's all about. And what they've done is one of the assistants in the church, if he goes on a little too long, he rings a little bell. Just like we just heard. And that's the sign that Pastor Jorge is time to move on to the next phase of the service. And so when the guy rang the bell, of course, it drew a lot of laughter and everything from the congregation. That's a good idea. Fortunately, you have a pastor who's, doesn't do that kind of stuff. In our gospel today, we hear of Jesus healing Simon's mother-in-law, lay sick with a fever. And only asked me on the way up today, what are you going to talk about? I said, you know what, I don't know. I thought about the gospel for the last couple of weeks, and I really wasn't quite sure how to go about addressing it. And then I sat, and I was sitting here and I was saying, you know what? Last week when we were there, we actually experienced or witnessed a miracle. And the statement about the mother-in-law with the fever struck me. And you can speak to Nancy and Bridget about this, but when we were, after the service, when we were about to leave, we had hired a taxi to drive us from the hotel to the church and then pick us up at the end and bring us back. It's about a 30-minute drive or something like that. One of the parishioners in the church was very sick. She became suddenly quite ill. And she needed to be taken to the hospital. Now that's not a major issue in Canada, because you can call an ambulance, or somebody in the family, if you can't get an ambulance, has a car, right? Not a major problem. But in that scenario, it certainly was a major problem. They didn't have a car. You can't call somebody to come pick you up and carry the person there. Because we had the taxi at that time, the taxi driver volunteered to drive the lady to the hospital and to ensure she got into the hospital with one of her siblings and one of her children, rather, and that she would be looked after. And I say it's a miracle because if we don't go to church that day, to that church, then I don't know what happens to the lady. I'm not saying she would have died, but she was in bad shape when we put her in the car. If we don't establish the connection with that church and go there and share our faith with them, I'm not sure what happens to that lady. The fact that we brought down money to help them with their church build a roof, and some of them are in dire financial straits, that's great. The fact that we brought them some material goods, pens and pencils and so on, which they need, that was really great. The little Sunday school, when they handed them out, we could hear the kids squealing with laughter. They were so excited. It was beautiful. And the ultimate, I think, testament to us is that two things. One, we witness a miracle taking place. The fact that we're there at that point in time. And that's Sunday. And when we chose the dates to go, we didn't think, I wonder if there'll be somebody really sick that day. It wasn't that at all. The will of God brought all that to be. But Pastor Jorge's words, pray to God. That's the common denominator that we have with all of the people there in that church. It's about the same size numerically as ours. It's remarkable. That's the common denominator. We all pray to God. We're all equal in praying to God. It doesn't matter that this pastor has a car and that pastor doesn't. God doesn't say, okay, which one of you guys has the car? Oh, it doesn't say that. Those prayers, that's the equalizer. That's what God's listening to. And that allows them to connect with God. And so, as it says here today, that Jesus went off and prayed. Now, the other things are really important. Making Simon's mother-in-law feel better. Healing the sick, driving out demons. Those are all great and wonderful things. But the unity that we now have with that group of people is very special. And it exists because of our ability to share in our prayers. That's really amazing. Because it's something that we share with them. There was one lady in the church who was undergoing, again, my Spanish is limited, but very serious surgery. We may have had someone who was suffering from cancer. And so the pastor and the assistant pastor prayed over her. And so I stood up and prayed over her as well. And Pastor Jorge then said to the people and said to the lady, you now have not just the people of this church praying for you, but you now have prayers of a group of people who don't even know you praying for you. And so this great sense of unity that way, that we can share all sorts of other kinds of things together, but ultimately the hand in hand that we have is hand in hand through prayer. And we know as a church community, and they know too as a church community, the great power of prayer. And that's why when we say, it's not said in a flippant way, when we say, I will pray for you, it's a really powerful phrase. A tremendous compliment, I guess, or a tremendous gift. That's better. It's a tremendous gift we're giving that person to say, I will pray for you. Because when we do that, we are saying, we are going to share with your burdens. We are going to share with your laughter, and we are going to share your disappointments, because we're going to share in our prayers. So think of that in the coming weeks. And like Jesus did, pull aside and think about your relationship with God and your personal prayers. And those people who, as I said, at this very hour, are praying for us.